Rise and shine, nerds.
You're tuned in to the Back Row Morning Show, a Monday through Thursday morning show for LTN Radio and proudly a part of the Love Thy Nerd podcast network. I'm Radio Matt.
And I'm Mo. We are caffeine-fueled and ready to talk your ears off. Our show covers a lot of banter-worthy goofiness inspired by current pop culture, as well as a focused topic that spans all 4 shows for the week.
This week on the show, we're taking a look at rivalries and fan loyalty. This week we are talking about rivalries and fan loyalty, and today we're going to talk about video entertainment.
Okay.
So let's go back to the beginning, at least for like people our age. The beginning that it was happening when we were little kids.
Okay.
Like the tail end of it, and that was VHS versus Betamax.
Okay.
Do you remember any Betamax stuff?
I don't.
Like, I still remember there being a Betamax store in my town when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah. But, like, wasn't there long, and it was very, it wasn't being used all that much because it was kind of already decided VHS is taking the battle here. So Sony, along with other companies, created videotape recorders in the 1950s. But it was like super expensive. So Sony released the Betamax in 1975 to avoid destroying public wallets. Like, it was supposed to be the cheaper option. JVC, though, launched VHS. And that's when this full-fledged format war began. Betamax machine was much heavier than a VHS, like VCR. JVC made their deck like simpler and cheaper to produce, which allowed VHS to kind of undercut Betamax and Sony. But they had a whole battle on who was going to win the hearts and minds of America, for their videotaping needs. Not even so much like putting home movies on things yet, but like just using camcorders, like the big monster camcorders from back then. And what ultimately became the deciding factor was a VHS was able to record 4 to 6 hours in length, while a Betamax could only go for about an hour. So VHS had those 3 different speeds. I don't know if you remember. Like, you could record on the tape at a different speed. The slower the speed, the worse the quality. Or the better the quality, rather. Whatever I'm trying to say. You did the 4-hour version, it was better quality. 6-hour was worse quality, but you could fit more on it. That's what I mean to say. But picture quality and everything brought VHS to the top. There are people here? There's people downstairs.
It's not even 8 o'clock.
It's not even 8 o'clock. What the heck are people doing here? Anyway, yeah, that was the end of that. Is simply came down to that better economy for VHSs.
Did they bring me coffee?
I don't think they brought you coffee. I don't think they know you're here. All right. So that brings us to the one that happened like really in our time when we were about college aged. Do you remember what that was? The new format battle?
Blu-ray
versus, do you even remember what the other one was called?
No. What was it?
HD DVD.
Oh.
So that was, the Blu-ray had the blue bands on top and the HD DVD had the red bands on top. And you had all these companies picking a side and only releasing on one or the other. You remember that? Like Universal, I believe, was only HD DVD.
I don't remember. Like, apparently, I remember, but I don't remember it being a big...
Oh, yeah. It was a huge thing.
A big to-do.
It was a huge thing. And what came down to the deciding factor of that was... I worked at FYE at the time. Yeah. Like, it was a big deal in those, the video stores. What came down to the deciding factor of that was actually video games. Sony released the, I think it was PS3. I don't remember. Let me look. Was it PS3? Sony released, I think it was a PS3, with a Blu-ray player built in. Microsoft, Xbox, came in with an HD DVD. But even though the PlayStation was more expensive, it was the more popular gaming console that year. And so it essentially, it was the PS3, yeah. It essentially just became we have a PS3 already. I guess we're just going to do Blu-ray. And so people just latched onto Blu-ray, and HD DVD basically died out with those consoles.
Interesting.
And so HD DVD slowly started disappearing, and everything started coming out on Blu-ray. Unfortunately for Blu-ray, their reign didn't last like as long as VHS's did, because almost immediately after that war was over, Netflix started to rise up and streaming started to become a thing. And now I don't remember the last time I bought a DVD, let alone a Blu-ray disc. You still buy DVDs?
No, but here's the thing. Since moving into the house, I still don't have internet. I'm still waiting for them to come out and hook it up. And
It
so
takes forever for these guys to get it hooked up.
So I've been having to watch DVDs.
Well, DVDs.
And listen, in all the years I've done like massive clean outs in our home and purging different things, every time that I went to purge or clean out our DVD selection, I kind of like got anxiety and was like, I can't do it. I can't let go of it. Even though like in my heart, I was like, nobody even watches these anymore. You don't need these. You can find every single video that's in your collection somewhere online. You don't need them. Just get rid of them. And I'd always be like, no, I can't let go of them. I'm so thankful that I didn't let go of them. I am so thankful because I actually have something to watch right now.
So I don't know the legality of this, because it was only for personal use. I didn't give them out online or anything, but I spent a ridiculous amount of time before streaming was everywhere. I spent a ridiculous amount of time ripping every DVD that we owned, and we owned quite a bit, into digital files. So I would essentially make my own little streaming box. Mm-hmm. So I got a big 4 terabyte book that I could hook up to a TV and play through it. Mm-hmm. And I spent, I think, 6 months. 6 months.
I wonder if we still have that external hard drive.
Ripping stuff off to put on that hard drive so I wouldn't have to get up and change DVDs every 5 seconds. I could just, hey, we're going to watch this. And almost immediately after that, it's like, well, now everything's on streaming and it's so much easier than this. So we did give away all of our DVDs, most of them. We kept a couple of our kids ones for car rides to play in the DVD player in the car. Yeah. But everything else we gave away. But I still have all my stuff on the hard drive.
There was one point where I went through and I got rid of any duplicates that we had or things that what?
Yeah, duplicate DVDs?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
How?
Well, I mean, you got to consider when Chris and I first got married, he had a DVD collection and I had a DVD collection. Okay. And so there was that merge of DVDs. But then also for a long time early in our marriage, it was the Christmas gift that everybody would give us, DVDs. And so we would get, you remember the $5 bins at Walmart?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd get multiple $5 DVDs from different people. So yeah, there were several duplicates that we had, but
I can only recall one DVD that we had 2 copies of.
You ain't DVDing, right?
Oh,
I mean, now
sure,
nobody DVDs except for me.
I didn't have duplicates.
I'm just saying.
Why would having duplicates be considered the right way?
Whatever.
I remember even consolidating our DVD collection down by buying multi-pack cases that were slimmer, where I could fit 12 DVDs in a 3-inch booklet.
Yeah.
As opposed to having them spread out. So I would combine all the trilogies, you could have them as little as 4 in a normal standard pack. But I would combine all our trilogies. I would shrink all of our TV series from 8 big packs for 8 seasons down to 2 slim packs together. So we would have more room on our thing. We invested a lot of extra money and time into really building up our DVD collection, only for a decade to pass. And we're like, you know what? DVDs aren't really a thing anymore. Just stop worrying about them. So,
that really
sad.
does kind of make me sad. Considering it, I can remember going to friends' houses and seeing their VHS collection. And that was you were somebody, depending on
right. Yeah.
the quantity and quality of your VHS library. And then I can remember kind of feeling that same high and mighty about a DVD collection.
Yeah.
You were setting the tone for what type of person, what kind of adult you were.
Right.
Depending upon your library of DVDs.
And I had all the DVDs of all the TV shows that I really liked. And I was always afraid, if you don't get these now, they're not maybe going to be for sale forever. And there goes your chance of watching, Psych whenever you want, or, something like that. And so got everything, all these.
Yep.
Never thinking in my wildest dreams that, a few years from now, there's going to be 80 streaming services with everything you've ever watched from the 90s till now available at any given moment.
Yeah.
For less money a year than you spent on DVDs.
Well, and that's the thing. Now it's a matter of, what streaming services do you have?
So that's let's kick off the beginning part of that.
Okay.
The first section for that is Netflix versus Blockbuster. So this was when Netflix was doing the mail DVDs. You get the DVDs in the mail 2 at a time, watch them, send them back whenever. And how Blockbuster, the last bastion of video rental stores, it was Blockbuster, I think Hollywood Video. Those are the only 2 that I remember.
I forgot about Hollywood Video.
Yeah, we had a Hollywood Video and a Blockbuster here. Blockbuster closed down here, but Hollywood Video was still around for several years.
Oh.
And I remember going to that Hollywood Video all the time with Daedra. That would be my second
Date
home.
night.
Loved going to Hollywood Video, getting a movie, getting popcorn and junk, and that was the date night.
Man.
And yeah, so Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix early on for nothing, for so little money compared to how much it's worth now. They offered to sell Netflix for $50 million, which is a lot of money, but nothing compared to what it's worth at the moment.
Right.
And Blockbuster is worth nothing because it doesn't exist. Now there's one Blockbuster left I think it's in Alaska. I don't remember where it is.
No, Oregon,
wherever it is. One Blockbuster left, and Netflix has one of the greatest documentaries on Blockbuster, The Last Blockbuster. It has a comedy series based around the idea of The Last Blockbuster, how that would survive in a comedic world. It's it's eating up Blockbuster at this point, and it's cannibalizing its corpse. Netflix went on to be the streaming giant, the big first streaming giant, and then we have Hulu, we have Disney Plus, we have Peacock.
Thank you.
Saying it normally.
Although no, you're not. You're still emphasizing the peacock.
Peacock. How do I say it, Mo? How should I say it?
Peacock.
How am I not saying that?
It just
Peacock.
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 Stop. That's enough. We're done.
Apple TV Plus and Paramount Plus. All right, so this is where fan loyalty shines in. There's too many of them now to have them all, unless you're just really bad with money. And so you gotta have a brand loyalty situation going on here. Already in the chat, we see Musical Band Nerd saying Hulu and Disney Plus is all they need. Mo, what streaming services are your go-to streaming services? You can only pick 2. Which would they be?
Honestly, I think I'm going Netflix and Hulu.
Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah.
Okay.
just because they're like the OGs for me. I know how to use them. I know how to find what I need to find.
So it's really just ease of use. That's
sounding
the only
super
reason
old at this point. Like,
it's really easy to point and click at what I want.
Exactly. Here's the thing. Like, Paramount Plus, I hate Paramount Plus. Hate it. Because every single time it logs me out and I can never log back in. To the point where, like, I almost want to throw my remote at the TV every time. And then when I do log back in and I find what I want to watch and I select it, guess what happens? It logs me out. I don't think I've ever successfully watched something on Paramount Plus, ever.
That's hilarious.
Ever. So it can kick rocks.
We have, we've currently subscribed to the Minnow streaming service, which is like the kids Christian show streaming service. Got all the VeggieTales and all the whole bunch of stuff, actually. A lot of pretty good stuff, good quality stuff. The problem is that thing won't let you stay signed in for more than like 3 days. And it's not just a simple, all right, you're logged out, log back in, put in your password. You have to like get out a phone, log into a website, scan a QR code, put in a code, put in your password. I'm like, I just, my kids just won't ever watch it. The whole reason that we got it was so when I was still asleep, my kids who are up early in the morning can get up and turn it on and watch something themselves. But they can't ever do that because it's always logged out.
Yeah.
And so they just don't. Like, all right, I'm paying $9.99 a month for essentially nothing.
Exactly. And Thray, actually, in our chat, she brought up Amazon, which you don't even have on.
I didn't put it on here because it's almost an afterthought for Amazon.
It is an afterthought, but
it does have a few good things on it.
Yeah.
But also half of the stuff it has on it are stuff that it's on like IMDb, and they're just streaming it through Amazon with ads.
Yeah.
And like, okay, but like they got Jack Ryan, you know. Jim is an action hero, so I mean that's all right.
I'm just gonna tell you, I watch most of my stuff through YouTube.
Well, that's not watching much. Do you have YouTube TV or YouTube Premium or something? Or?
I mean, I pay to rent or to buy certain things.
Okay.
Because it's the only thing that I can successfully log in through at the school, because there's so many filters on our computers at the school.
Why are you watching movies at school, Mom?
It's Fun Day Friday.
Oh, okay, you're playing movies for kids. Got it.
Yeah.
The way it was coming off is like, you know, I'm not wanting to work. I'll just watch Jurassic World 3.
There are also, I have planning periods in my day. Okay.
You're supposed to be planning?
Planning what? How to take over the world? Sure. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so that's typically what I use is YouTube, and okay. I am a creature of habit, and so at this point, everything else I'm done. I really don't know what I'm going to be paying for. I don't see much of a purpose in paying for any of it anymore. So, especially when I'm paying for it now.
So I've never gotten the full Netflix fandom. I didn't get it when it first came out. As I said, I'd ripped all of my stuff off, onto a hard drive. So I was watching that when Netflix was first around.
For shame.
Hulu came out. We got Hulu. Because I think we got it as we got like 3 months of it free for some reason. I don't remember through what. We got that. And I enjoyed Hulu enough that we kept it for a few years. But when Peacock came out, I'm trying to say it normal. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. When Peacock came out, we got that because, number one, Office is our number one jam all the time. And it very quickly got the rights to Office back from Netflix. But most of the shows that we like, for some reason, just tend to be NBC shows. And so we kind of got a no-brainer. But then they bought the entire WWE network as well. So now they've got all the WWE content, including all the pay-per-views, as a part of just the main price. And so I can watch all the WWE pay-per-views that used to cost like $60 on their own for just the one night, $30 to $60 depending on the show. Basically free, as a bonus to this. And then Disney Plus, because Disney Plus is just a good deal. It really is. It's got all the Marvel movies, all the Star Wars stuff, all the Pixar, all the kids, all the old Disney movies, TV original movies that I used to love. And then The Simpsons. I mean, what more do you need, right?
There's really not that much on Disney Plus that I...
Really? There's really not much that I don't like.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that I like, but I just don't, that's not my go-to. I'm not going to sit down. I'm not a movie person.
That's right, yeah.
Give me like 30-minute sitcoms or a 30-minute episode of a reality television show or whatever. 30 minutes is about all that I'm going to dedicate to sitting down and watching television. I'm not going to sit down and watch a movie for an hour and a half, 2 hours at home when I could be doing other things. That's just how my brain is wired. So while Disney Plus has all of those movies that we grew up on and that I love and that give me all the nostalgic feels, I don't ever use it.
I will never watch them.
Yeah. I think I watch Disney Plus the most throughout Christmas because they had all the Home Alones.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch all the Home Alones?
So I have to do it once a year where I watch all of them. Yes. So that I can remember how awful 3 through 5 is.
I didn't hate 3. When you look at it as its own movie, just cut it off from the Home Alone series altogether and just like, this is a standalone movie. I didn't hate it. It's not the best, and it's nowhere near the first 2, but I didn't hate it.
They're garbage.
4 and 5, and is it 6? How many are there?
Okay, so I only watched 1 through 5. But I do think that there is a 6th one.
So the 6th one is the new one, right? That Disney Plus made. Home Sweet Home Alone.
Okay.
Yeah. That one I also didn't hate. Not as much as 4 and 5. 4 and 5, hot garbage. Hot garbage on the hottest setting and the stinkiest garbage. It's the worst. But 3 and 6 were like, all right. It's all right. Kids want to watch it, we'll put it on, kind of thing. 1 and 2, top tier for sure. Top tier movies.
1 and 2.
I think I like 2 the best. I think you mentioned this. Don't you like 2 the best? I think you mentioned this, and it got me thinking. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
2 is my favorite.
2's better.
Yep.
2's good. 2's real fun. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this wasn't supposed to be about Home Alone.
Aw, why? I mean, it is
I refuse to acknowledge the existence of 3 through 6.
Yeah. 1 and 2, the only ones that matter.
But yeah, okay. So your go-tos, once again, were
Netflix and Hulu.
And yeah, I mean, Netflix has those big shows. It has Stranger Things. It has currently, I think, Wednesdays is the big thing over there. And yeah, like, I get it. If those are the reason that you're going to Netflix, but like, Deidre and I also have gotten a few free months of Netflix throughout the years, and like, we just, how much on there we want to watch,
So here's the thing. I like Hulu for all of the shows that I would watch on cable.
Yeah.
Or on satellite.
That's true.
Okay.
It's got a good, especially because that's essentially what it was. It was a joint venture with, I think it was NBC, Disney, Fox, and ABC. Well, Disney is ABC.
I don't know.
But like, that's how it originally started, as like this conglomeration of all the different networks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I
like Hulu for that, but Netflix has really outdone themselves with a lot of the originals. Mm-hmm. Their own television shows, their own documentaries and docuseries, their own original movies. There's not many Netflix originals that I've watched that I didn't like.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a pretty solid track record with their originals. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give you that. While the rest don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
The rest are heavy hit or miss territory.
Yeah.
Well, Well, no, I was about to say except for Disney, but no, even with Disney, some of their series, they like the worst Disney original is usually far better than like the best Hulu original or whatever, but still they have their really highs and really lows on Disney Plus too. Yeah. But still.
There you go. I gave you my actual reasoning behind.
I appreciate it.
Paramount Plus sucks because
to the show.
Keeps kicking me out. I can never stay logged in.
Also,
I've never used Apple TV.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Apple TV at all.
Yeah.
Apple TV has a couple, like they're essentially just originals. Like they don't really have like a backlog of stuff.
So then see, I wouldn't.
The only thing I know of from Apple TV that I like is Ted Lasso.
Okay.
The cleanest comedy you'll ever find that's full of curse words. And I promise you that's a very accurate statement
whatsoever.
And when you watch it, you'll understand what I mean.
Anyway.
There's not a show more wholesome right now being produced than Ted Lasso. But there's so much cussing in it. But it won't matter. It won't change your mind on how wholesome it is.
Whatever. And then I'm going to say that Amazon comes in a really close third for me.
Yeah. Amazon is really like that, just like that reliable workhorse in the back. Like it is. It'll be there for you when you need it and it'll do what it needs to do.
If you can't find it on Netflix or Hulu, you're going to find it on Amazon.
Like I'm watching News Radio on Amazon right now. News Radio was a solid show back in the 90s. Love that show.
My only complaint about Amazon is that it doesn't matter if you're a Prime member or not. There's still going to be certain things that you're going to have to rent or buy.
Yeah.
Whereas
I don't like that they don't separate those out into two different sections. I don't like that everything's stacked together.
Right.
So you can't tell, can I watch this for free or not?
Yeah.
Until you've had to go through all the steps of clicking through it.
Until you got your hopes up because there's like that one thing that you remembered all of a sudden, oh, that was such a good show or such a good movie. And then you're like,
would you like
nobody
to buy
else
the
has
season?
it. Yeah. Nowhere else has it. All right, let me search Amazon. Yes, Amazon for the win. And then at the very last minute, rent or buy. And you're like, fine.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that was a pretty
good.
solid discussion.
So that's all for today. Next time, we're going to take a look at tech rivalries. This week, we are talking rivalries and fan loyalty. Today, we're talking tech. Now, this one's probably going to have a little bit more rivalry aspect to it, like fan loyalty aspect to it, than yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we really just kind of talked about the evolution of video.
True.
And how at different points there were rivalries. But here we're talking about kind of rivalries that have been lasting for a long time. And first up is PC versus Mac. Now we're talking about computers. We're talking about computers here. Computers, laptops, things of that nature. We're not going into phones yet. Just PC versus Mac. Where do you stand, Mo? Tell me. Tell us your thoughts. Tell the world.
Okay, here's my real thoughts. I'm truly not a Mac fan. I'm not.
Yeah.
But because I was married to a Mac person for 17 years, that's all that we ever owned. And so it's what I know at this point. And we talked about it yesterday that I'm just a creature of habit. And so I know how to use it. I know, but I don't really love it.
I hate it, but it's the thing I know the best.
Yeah, and so I don't want to go and relearn.
Yeah. So I was PC growing up. My family, bought a PC computer, which was the cheapest, which is fine.
Yeah.
In high school, all the computers that we used, and I had a lot of computer-centric courses like journalism and I think web design was a class that I took or something like that. Yeah, I designed a website for it. But all of them were Mac computers. Everything was Mac based. And so that was my first foray into Mac. Oh, we also took video journalism. Yeah, video journalism. Bubba and I took that class together and built videos on Mac and iFilm or iMovie and then Final Cut Pro, stuff like that. All Mac-based things. So I learned a lot of Mac stuff. Then I bought a ridiculously expensive laptop just before I moved out on my own. So I had all my work income to work with for several months. Bought an expensive laptop, and then I had a PC. And so going off to college, I had those too. And they're completely different operating systems. I did not like how they weren't very compatible, but I couldn't tell you which one I liked more at the time. Moving into like what we're doing now with like Love Thy Nerd and everything, and online gaming, all the like different editing software and stuff that I have here, I think PC takes it by a mile.
Yeah.
Because it was like thinking back to that class above and I took with the video editing. iMovie was pretty easy, but it was also pretty basic. If you moved into anything more intricate, Mac made it so much more difficult to use. First time I started doing that kind of stuff on a PC, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Like everything just worked so much better and cleaner. I didn't have to click on 8 different things. I really hate the fact that Mac mouses are just one button. You don't have the extra options. Things. At least standard. I don't know if you can program stuff in, but like it's just, PC is much more versatile with all this kind of stuff. And much cheaper.
Yeah.
Like you can get something super expensive, but even if you're going super expensive PC, which is about the same price as a Mac, you're getting so much more PC than you are with the Mac. You're getting tons of gigabytes, tons of RAM, tons of everything, as opposed to standard stuff with the Mac for the same price. You know what I'm saying? I really think it comes down to that much. Also, PC tends to be much more friendly when it comes to older operating systems. Now that doesn't matter so much now, but it did just a few years ago. Like even up to, I want to say 2010, they were still like offering software that worked all the way down to Windows 98. And then after that, it was like Windows XP. And I think now you can go back to Vista still, but it was it was over a decade, like almost 2 decades worth of, look, we're still going to have, security updates and things all the way back to that.
Yeah.
While Apple, a decade is the max. And I remember I had gotten a laptop that would work, had like a PC emulator in it, kind of. So it could do some things like a PC would. And then they just gave up on that. And they're like, nah, we're done. And so my laptop lost a whole bunch of functionality after the 8-year mark. And I'm like, okay, well, guess I'll play some games. I guess I'll put it, it had a DVD player. That was the big deal for me. Oh, yeah. I guess I'll watch some Fresh Prince.
Now this is a story all about how my life got turned upside.
But now let's move on to the more intense debate. Android versus iPhone. My gosh. Just the fan loyalty alone in this debate.
I'm not loyal.
Is ridiculous.
I just know how to use it. That's the thing. I 100% will say that Android always seems to have the better camera. Always. I just don't know how to use it.
Again, one of the main gripes that I have with iPhone is the same thing I have with Mac in general, is that for some reason they don't want to. I mean, I know the reason, but they refuse to play well with others. They're not gonna we have formats, MP3, MP4, that are supposed to be used, on everything. And you can open up a whole bunch of PC stuff on a Mac, but Mac has their own formats of other things. They're going to format their music in their own proprietary format, their videos in their own format. And so when you send stuff that you're making, recording or downloading on an iPhone to someone that has an Android, you're getting gobbledygook. It either won't play or it'll play super badly.
What are you getting?
gobbledygook. And that's exactly what a video looks like.
Gobbledygook.
Greg, my father-in-law, they've been their whole family, their whole household, and then they have my sister-in-law on their plan. So all of them have iPhones. Deidre and I have Android phones. Anytime they record a video and then try and text it to us, we get this teeny tiny little video that's all super pixelated. It looks like a square full of gobbledygook.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Can't
hear
see
you.
nothing. I can send them a video and it's perfectly viewable and clear and crisp because it's, an MP4. It's something that everything can read, but they don't even give you the option to do that. And so I'm like, the only way you can get me a video is send it through Messenger because Facebook will convert it for me and it'll still come out clean. I just don't like that. I don't like how they section themselves off from any other kind of computer. Like,
I agree.
Just us. You want to be happy, you come over here. You can look at everything clearly. You can hear everything clearly.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
And I get why they started kind of doing that with iTunes. With iTunes, they wanted everything formulated not in MP3, but in AAC, I think is what their unit is. They gave you the option of creating a duplicate MP3 version for a while, so you could put it on other MP3 players or move it to a CD or something like that. But like they even stopped doing that at the end. I don't like it.
I'm in agreement with you, honestly. But I've had iPhone since we moved back to the States, and so it's what I know how to use.
Yeah. So, like what you said with the camera, the argument from Apple's side has always been, we might not be coming out with the newest stuff as fast as Android, but that's because we're taking our time to make sure when we roll it out, it's not going to have any problems.
Yeah, but it's not good.
Is it not?
I mean, and it still has problems. Why else do they have 1,000 updates every month? Like, if they didn't have problems, then they wouldn't need updates. I'm just saying.
I haven't ever had iPhone stuff, so I don't know.
I can say I wait until the last minute to do my show prep so that I can make sure that what I put out is good. And here's the thing. Every Saturday morning when we come to record, I'm still like, oh shoot, I forgot to do this. It's just something that they say to make them sound really good. It's garbage. It's nonsense is what it is. It's a big fat lie. Yeah.
So Musical Bible Nerd says, it depends on what Android you're talking about, which I think you're absolutely right. That's the problem with the Android side, is that they're a little bit too open of a space. So there's a whole bunch of garbage phones, garbage brands using the Android software. Samsung, killing it most of the time. A couple years ago, they had a bad year where their phones were exploding in people's pockets. That wasn't a great year for Samsung. But right now, they're doing really good. And I've had Samsung for the last few generations, and I've enjoyed it. I had an HTC once, I think, but mostly Samsung. Also, I'm going to break this phone just by the sheer accident of it. We bought these really cool custom phone cases, my wife and I, with our new phones. They are so dang slippery. I have dropped this phone more in 3 months that I've had this than I dropped it the entire 4 years I had my last one. I'm going to have to buy a new case. It's just not going to be worth it to have the fancy special one. Did you ever have a Nokia brick phone?
Yeah.
Those old cell phones?
Yeah.
Those are fun.
I do.
Little snake.
If I could go back to those phones, I probably would.
All right. Let's move on to video game consoles. The current one, which I think is starting to die out. I think there's a winner is being seen, but the current one for the last several generations of video game consoles is Sony versus Xbox.
Sony, hands down.
Nintendo, when they came out with the Wii, they're like, you know what, we're pivoting. We're not gonna try and keep up with Sony and Xbox when it comes to graphics and their game game lineup and all that. We're going to be so different that it'll be natural for you to own a Nintendo and a Sony or an Xbox. So it was a brilliant move. Wii was the best-selling video game console ever at that point. Did you just spill what was left of your coffee on yourself? See, Mo keeps saying that I'm having the bad day, but...
Because you had a bad day.
So they're out of the running now, but Sony versus Xbox, you say Sony? Why do you say that? PlayStation?
PlayStation, yep.
PlayStation. Yeah. They're essentially the winners. And I think that was proven even, like I said, back with PS3. PS3 was far more expensive than the Xbox that came out at the same time, but they still vastly outsold the Xbox. And the PS2 was so popular, they released it twice. They released the PS2.
You just have that memory
and then
all of a sudden?
And then they released the PS2 Slim.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and that sold well too. Like people that had a PS2 also bought a PS2 Slim for some reason. That was ridiculous. But
Well,
But yeah, the PS3, that was the one that had the Spider-Man font for some reason on it. Like from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, they used the same font to write PlayStation 3 on the...
Did they really? Interesting.
Anybody in the chat, Team Xbox here? Like, I had an Xbox. I've been Nintendo my whole life, and Xbox was my first generation where I'm like, I'm going to try something else.
Yeah.
Because I was not impressed with how the GameCube looked at the time. And at this point, I still kind of feel like I was right. Like, there were a few good things on GameCube, but you could play them all on the Wii. So, like, I didn't miss out. I got those few games for a lot cheaper once I had my Wii and played them there. Oriel says the only reason I have an Xbox right now is because of Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. Thray was Xbox, Kabigan Xbox with Game Pass. Thray, Xbox console, Game Boy handheld. Game Boy. Yeah. I've had almost every Game Boy through DS.
I tell you to stop. Like, you need to stop saying that because it makes you sound like the biggest, most spoiled brat.
Oh, I totally was. I was a big spoiled baby when I was a kid because I was the baby child. The baby child, and I was 10 years after my last brother. So my parents had time to like build up all their money again.
And they were like, oh, shoot.
Let's use it on spoiling this last kid of ours.
We're having another?
Look, when you grow up with a mother who's a depressive spender, yeah, you're going to get spoiled because she's going to go out and buy everything for you. And that's what we're trying to keep her to do for my own kids. I have to keep telling my mother, you don't need to buy them a toy every time you see them. You see them 2 or 3 times a week. Stop buying them things.
She's created a habit at this point.
Yeah. Anywho, for me, it started being with the game selection. Halo, Gears of War, only available on Xbox. Yeah. Oriel says, growing up, it was Nintendo or PlayStation. Yeah, so I didn't really think about that, but currently the big deal is the Game Passes. So you have Xbox Game Pass, which is pretty big, and then you have PlayStation's version, which got a revamp last year at some point, which I think made it a lot better for people, but I don't know if it's got the same popularity. But what I have heard is essentially this might be the last Xbox console that's out now, because they might just be moving to kind of merging into just PC, period.
Merge.
So bringing Xbox Game Pass just to PC, playing still with the Xbox controller. I have an Xbox controller only because I can use it with my PC just fine. That's the only reason I own it.
So I'm really trying to think why I am pro PlayStation. And I think it's because growing up, it seemed as though Xbox was heavy on like the shooter games.
Yeah.
Whereas PlayStation was a little more heavy on, like, wasn't Tony Hawk PlayStation?
I think he was on everything.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He was definitely on Nintendo because I played a lot
played
of
him on PlayStation.
But you're saying that the
racing
content,
games.
you feel like the content was more varied for PlayStation.
Yeah.
While Xbox seemed to be focused heavily on shooters, first-person shooters.
Like war games. And I was, one, not allowed to play war games. And two, I really didn't have an interest in playing shoot-'em-up war games. So, yeah.
Rich kids were playing Kingdom Hearts on their PlayStation. Very good.
I wasn't a rich kid.
That's funny. I've never played Kingdom Hearts either.
I was Po.
You were Pomo?
So Po.
So I guess this kind of all takes us back to the original console wars, which was Nintendo versus Sega.
Sega. Yeah.
That was nice. That was really good. Yeah. So that was like the big.
It was.
I remember that rivalry. I remember as a kid, you had to pick a team.
But I also hated that it was a rivalry
Yeah.
because I loved Nintendo. Everything that you could do on Nintendo. But I love Sonic.
Sonic's great.
And it was like you're making me pick between Sonic and Mario. Like, that's not okay. Why can't they just get along? Why can't they be best buds?
They are now. Now they go to the Olympics together every 4 years.
But I'm saying, like...
But, like, when I was a kid, I remember we had friends who had a Sega Genesis. And, like, I'd come over and I'm like, oh, man, there's so many buttons on this freaking thing.
Yeah.
But, like, it was fun. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, but I still want to go back to my Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know? But my older brother, like, I had the one thing that Sega definitely had Nintendo beat on at the early stages was handhelds. Because while Nintendo was still doing the black and green screen Game Boys, Game Gear came out, which kind of looked like, had the same feel as like the Switch does today. Like it was a long, controller on each side kind of thing with a color screen in the middle where you could play. I played Sonic and Tails on that, and I'm like, that was a really good. My brother brought that home, and at first I'm like, I felt betrayed. I'm like, this is a Nintendo household, sir. But when I played that, I'm like,
back out that door.
I'm like, this is dope. Like it felt really close to the 16-bit stuff that we had on the full screen already. I'm like, this is very impressive stuff.
I don't remember the handhelds growing up.
Yeah.
Like none of my friends had them. I definitely didn't have them.
Really?
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
Oriel says, yeah, you went through batteries in the Game Gear super quickly. Yeah, that's true. It took like at least 4 AAA batteries, and it lasted you like an hour or two. Like it sucked it up. But no, see, I had the original Game Boy, the big clunky thing with all the peripherals. You could get the screen magnifier and the little light that you could play in the dark because it wasn't backlit. Then I got the pocket one, which was a teeny tiny version. It could fit in your back pocket. Then I skipped the color one. I didn't get the color one. But then I got and I didn't get the advanced one either. I didn't get any of the advanced ones. So I skipped both of those generations. So I didn't have every one of them. But I did in college win the last version of the Game Boy ever. Okay. And it was the Game Boy Micro. It was this big. It was like slightly bigger than a pack of gum. And tiny little buttons and a tiny little screen. And you just play with it. It was pretty dope.
This is why our generation has terrible eyesight.
Terrible eyesight, yeah.
How'd you know that's what I was going to say?
Oh, 'cause we were the same person.
So. That was creepy. That's the creepiest thing that I think we've ever done.
And then the DS had come out at the same time. I paid a ridiculous amount of money to buy the DS Lite from Japan because it came out months in advance in Japan. And I ordered it, and then I thought, oh no, what if it comes with a Japanese plug? Like a thing that doesn't fit in our outlets here. I didn't think about that at all until it was already in the mail. No, came with a normal plug. I don't know. But like, I was, scared about that.
Do they have different plugs in Japan?
I don't know if they do or not. I know there are different outlets everywhere else. Jim Bim 121 says, not saying long, but does anyone remember the Game Boy camera and printer? Heck yes, I do. Game Boy camera was super fun. Super, super fun.
Yeah, theirs are different than ours. But I'm assuming their plugs would still work because we have the 3-prong.
Yeah.
They just have 2-prong.
Oh, okay. So it's still similar. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, Game Boy
Sorry.
printer was a lot of fun. You could take photos of Game Boy camera. You take photos of people, put them in games, put them in little stickers that you could print out. That was really fun. I like that.
Interesting.
Got the DS Lite. DS Lite was really cool. 3DS came out. That was ridiculous. That's the one that gave me bad eyesight. Like, how can it be? What's wrong with you?
My ear is bleeding. Can I have
what?
a Kleenex,
what?
please?
What? My ear is bleeding.
Yeah, I don't
These
know.
headphones are intense, apparently.
Yeah,
Been saying it for years.
My ear hurts. Finally, it said, "You know what? Forget this. I'm tired of you putting
Are
me."
you wearing earrings?
No,
Why would it just bleed?
because I'm wearing headphones.
I don't feel like that's enough to make an ear bleed.
No, I don't know.
You right there?
Yeah, I'm.
Everyone's worried about you. Well, Jim Bim's worried about you.
We gonna need to disinfect this. Sorry.
I'll get it disinfected before John uses it for sure.
Well then.
That's an interesting
What the heck?
interesting turn of events. Anyway,
Sorry.
we were both Team Nintendo,
Yeah.
who secretly liked Sega, right? Is that essentially it?
Read Oreo's comment.
Whereas I thought she pulled something out of her ear like a magic trick.
I did. Blood. Ugh.
You're one of those gross magicians. Ta-da! Bleed.
Right? And dead.
And dead. Most gone. Well, what a weird way to end this discussion, but that's all for today. Tomorrow, we're going to look at food rivalries. This week, we are talking about rivalries and the fandoms behind them. And we've looked at video streaming. We've looked at tech rivalries. Today, we're going to look at some food rivalries.
Okay, let's
All right?
go.
These are good ones.
Let's go.
First up, Coke versus Pepsi.
Coke.
Why, though?
Although we had this conversation, and again, Oriole, go ahead and be ready to cue with the fact that you remember this conversation. We had this conversation a couple years ago where we both said that we were leaning more towards Pepsi recently.
Yeah, I do remember.
You remember that one?
I do.
Oh, the world is ending. He remembers a conversation we had in the past, guys. Oh my
sick of
gosh.
this real quick.
Can you believe it?
Continue with your thoughts.
That's it. That's my only thought.
We had a conversation once about
Okay,
it.
but I think I'm leaning more towards Coke now because of the like the novelty flavors that they've come out with, like the
Oh, okay.
the Starlight.
Yeah, it was Starlight.
Starlight?
Coke Starlight.
Yeah.
That was the only good one. I did not like I didn't try the Pixel, but it sounded gross. But I did not like the marshmallow one.
Yeah,
like
that one was gross.
Strawberry watermelon Coke.
There was another one though that they did. What was the one that they did before? I don't remember. Listen, I'm just now remembering that every Christmas they would have the cinnamon Coke, and for the last 2 Christmases they haven't done it, and it's really making me sad. That's my favorite.
Yeah. I still lean towards Pepsi. Thray says Pepsi is Coke watered down. That's maybe not entirely untrue, because Pepsi does have more carbonation in it, more carbonated water than Coke does. It's a crisper kind of soda. Coke is thicker, I guess. Orange vanilla Coke. Mm-hmm. That was a good one. They've stopped doing that one too.
You know, whenever I go to a restaurant that has Coke and it's the fountain drinks, I will get Coke or Coke Zero and orange Fanta.
A little orange Fanta.
It's the best. It's delicious.
I mean, there have been those national taste tests, some put on by Pepsi itself, like the Pepsi Challenge, but there have been unaffiliated ones. Will you every week with you? Almost breaking the system.
And my head.
And your head. And Pepsi does tend to win the taste test, the blind taste tests.
Really?
Over Coke most of the time. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's... I don't know if it's perception. Is it just brand loyalty? Like, is it really just... Well, I've always had Coke, so it's Coke is what I'm going to have. Coke's the most popular thing, so Coke, of course, is going to be better. And then when you can't tell which is which, when it's just in a plain cup, you like Pepsi better? I don't know,
but I really do. So in our chat, the Nerd Hawk has a really good question that is 100% accurate. Why is it that Pepsi drinkers would drink Coke if Pepsi wasn't available? But as a Coke drinker, I'd take water over Pepsi.
It could be perhaps that Pepsi people know that Coke is a superior product, like you're saying. It could be that Coke people are snooty.
It could be a little bit of both, because I think that both statements are accurate. So I don't know.
But I mean, it's clear that Coke has won. Coke has won that war.
But here's what gets me. Okay, and you and I are discussing just Pepsi itself and just Coke itself.
Not the whole brands as a company, but
right, because I think that you would say, if we're talking about brands and then the other drinks that come along with that brand, I think that you would probably say Pepsi.
Yes, I prefer more Pepsi products than I do Coke products.
And I would still stick with Coke.
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper's Coke.
Dr. Pepper is its own thing.
Okay.
It's not a part of it.
Sprite is Coke.
Sprite is Coke. The new Starry is Pepsi. I like the Starry better than Sierra Mist. And I think better than Sprite.
Well, and I was simply thinking because of Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew, yeah, that's the winner. Mountain Dew takes it over the top with Pepsi for me. Love several versions of Mountain Dew. I was in high school when Coke came out with New Coke, and it was literally Pepsi. And the uproar was monstrous. Yeah, that was a bad idea. New Coke was a bad idea. So my favorite story that came out of the Cola Wars there was, now I can't even remember exactly. Dang it!
It was a great story.
Was it Diet Pepsi and Tab? It was something. Oh, I can't remember it now. Like, they created Tab to be terrible on purpose. Diet Tab, that's what it was. They created like a Diet Tab to be terrible on purpose because they wanted people to confuse it with a Pepsi product, and it tanked both products or something. You fought in the Cola Wars. Pepsi Blue. Oh man, Pepsi Blue was terrible. I hated Pepsi Blue. A lot of people liked it. I hated it. Do you remember Pepsi Blue? I don't. Was so violently blue, Mo. It was so bright.
Like Big Blue?
It was like Kool-Aid. Like, it looked like Kool-Aid. Like blue Kool-Aid.
Grief.
It was, woo.
Woo, woo. He said.
Woo. Woo. Pepsi Man, the video game. That's right. That was also terrible. Baja Blast. No. Baja Blast is King soda level right there. That's S tier soda. It is not it is not aspiring to be Pepsi Blue.
He's wrong.
Blech. Blech. All right, let's move on to Mars M&Ms versus Hershey's.
Okay.
This one's hard for me.
See, I gotta know like what falls under what. Let me look up.
Okay.
I need to know.
Yeah. Go ahead. Mars candies include M&Ms, Snickers, Milky Way, Crunch, 100 Grand, Butterfinger, Twix, Paydays, Three Musketeers, a lot.
Hershey's, Reese's, Kit Kat, Twizzlers, Icebreakers, Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
I'm going M&M's, Mars. Yeah, 100%. You got Snickers, you got Twix, you got Payday. Yeah. You got M&M's. That's where it's at. And
but Reese's is with Hershey's, as Therese pointing out in our chat.
Yes,
Reese's with Hershey. Reese's is a big deal.
It is. Yes. But that's one.
But it's one that's 1,000 though, because there's a billion different Reese's candies and they're all amazing.
No, they're not.
Well, most of them are.
No, they're not.
90%.
Not even 90%.
No, what's bad?
No.
What's bad?
The potato chip one.
Yeah, but
the
that's a
pretzel
gimmick.
one.
Those are just the gimmicks of the same candy. I'm talking. We got Reese's Pieces. We got Reese's Take Fives. We got Reese's Brownies. Reese's Cupcakes. Reese's Cereal. We got Reese's everything.
Okay.
And they're all pretty good.
Yeah, whatever. I still think
I actually have an answer for her, and her response is, okay, whatever.
Listen,
Look
and I
here.
grew up going to Hershey Park. So that, like...
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
You told me about that.
It kind of pains me to say it,
So
but...
let's just talk about the chocolate.
Yeah.
The chocolate from M&M's, Mars, and the chocolate from Hershey's and the differences. The Mars chocolate is like a typical sweet milk chocolate, while the Hershey's kind of has a bit of a sourness
Yeah.
to it at the end. I kind of like the sourness.
Oh, see, I am not a Hershey fan.
Yeah,
like just a
just the normal
Hershey.
chocolate?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
the
like their
Hershey
bars.
bar. Ooh.
Like a Hershey bar with almonds, that might be like a number 2, number 3 slot for me.
Okay, so with almonds, yes. With anything, you can't have just a Hershey bar by itself,
okay,
though.
okay. So even
Because
if it's just the almonds mixed in, that's enough for you.
It's enough for me.
Take away
Yeah.
the strength of it.
Honestly, my favorite is the Hershey bar with the Reese's Pieces in it.
That was pretty dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good one.
That's probably my favorite candy bar in the form of like a bar. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's probably my favorite candy bar.
Okay.
But if I would never just go buy the brown Hershey
I agree with
bar
that. Yeah.
ever.
I agree
And
with
I think that says a lot about the chocolate, the Hershey chocolate
Maybe.
in and of itself. However, when I think about making chocolate milk and using like chocolate syrup, I'm not going to buy anything other than Hershey's chocolate syrup.
I mean, Nesquik is all right, but it ain't no Hershey's. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
I don't, Matt, this might be the most difficult one. I don't 100% know. I really don't. I stepped out of the gate strongly saying Mars, M&M's, but I may be retracting it slightly.
Do you remember when Hershey's tried to come up with their own version of M&M's? The Kissables?
No.
There were tiny little kisses covered in candy coating in little bags like M&M's.
You know what? I'm going to settle this.
They were all right.
I'm going to settle this real quick. You ready?
Do it.
Kinder. That's it.
See,
There you go.
I don't care for Kinder all that.
Oh, I love Kinder.
I
I
really
love
don't.
Kinder.
People are saying like Nestle, Ghirardelli. I mean, yeah, I get it. Nestle Crunch actually slaps pretty hard. I'm gonna say Nestle
Yeah.
Crunch is pretty good.
Yeah, that's fair.
Nestle Crunch is pretty good. Pretty good.
But Ghirardelli, not so much.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Ghirardelli.
Lindt.
I'm a fan of Lindt.
Lindt is good.
Lident.
Lindt. It's Lindt.
I'm a fan of Lindt.
Lindt. I'm not a fan of Lindt,
I like their
Or Lindt.
Their
but Lindt.
just the truffles, just the basic
Yeah.
red wrapper truffles. Those are
Milk
really
chocolate.
good. Yeah.
Dove, I don't care for Dove so much. Dove is like, I have to be in the mood for a Dove chocolate. And sometimes, like, I can only eat one. And that's it.
Jim Bim, no, Reese's Pieces are not peanut butter and M's because there's no chocolate in the Reese's Pieces. It's just peanut butter,
Very true.
candy coated peanut butter,
Yeah.
and they're real good. My favorite like go-to candy, I guess it's classified as a candy bar. I guess it's technically not a bar, but it's the Reese's Pieces Reese's big cups. Like the big cups with the Reese's Pieces inside.
Yeah, I definitely would not classify that as a bar.
But it's in
They're
the
cups.
it's in the bar section
They're
though.
cups.
You know what I mean? Like it's also the outrageous. Oh,
the Reese's
that's a whole
outrageous,
different thing too.
Hands down, my
So good.
favorite.
Way too sweet.
Favorite.
Really good.
Do you know I had one? It's been probably 3 or 4 months at this point since I've had one, and then
Yeah.
I had one the other day, and I couldn't finish the whole thing
Yeah.
because it was so sweet, and
much,
it made
yeah.
me super sad.
I gotta take it in
Man.
two rounds.
I can't. This stinks.
Or get the smaller one. Don't get
What
the
has
king
my
one.
life become that I can't finish a full candy bar anymore?
Reese's Egg. We're getting into Reese's Eggs. Hillbilly is a banned word on Twitch. What? Sorry. Reese's Eggs are not a big deal for me. I don't like them. I don't like any Reese's that have like a hard chocolate covering.
Really?
Yeah, like the Nutcracker Reese's that come out at Christmas. Like the
I like
formed
the
chocolate.
hard.
I don't like that at all.
Oh, I do.
I do like me a Cadbury caramel egg though.
You know, I'm not a fan.
I'm a big fan of those
I'm
Cadbury
really
caramel
not.
eggs. I could get myself in real trouble with Cadbury caramel eggs.
Yeah, you can have them all because I don't want them. They are.
I will buy a 5-pack from
thing.
Walmart and they will not make it home.
Yeah, no. You are like one of two people that I know that are a huge fan.
It's got to be
of
more
the
than
caramel
just
eggs.
us. Because
I'm saying out of all the people that I know,
yeah.
you're one of two. And they're not good.
All right, let's talk about pizza, Mo. Pizza Wars, Triple Threat. Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's.
Papa John's.
Heck yes.
Papa John's.
Heck yes.
You know
I need
why?
a fist bump for that.
You know why? Because
Heck
they give you
yes.
the banana peppers.
Well, it's not why for me, but it is a good.
It's why
I don't
for
care
me.
why. I don't care why you pick it as long as you pick it.
Papa John's.
Now, Thray says Pizza Hut in the 90s. Absolutely. I would have given it to Pizza Hut in the 90s. 90s Pizza Hut was the bomb.
I can only eat thin crust pizza from Pizza Hut. The other crust, like, destroys my stomach. I don't know what
Really?
it is. Yes. But it destroys my stomach. And so
Mosaic Fanarch says Papa John's crust tastes like chlorine. I disagree.
Papa
John's crust is my favorite crust.
every time that whether it was CR here at Highland or it was CR at Central, I had to convince whoever was ordering the pizza, please buy me a thin crust. Because it's all that I can eat.
Right.
Like, please.
Well, we would order a thin crust just for us,
and hide it
and
in
a
the
couple
back.
other people and hide it in the kitchen.
Yep.
I'll pray for you, Matt. Hey, Papa John's crust is amazing. It's real good. It's the only crust that I really want to eat the whole thing.
Well, and here's the thing. They give you the garlic cup. They give you the banana peppers. Okay? So you eat your slice, and then you've got this doughy crust at the end that you just set in that garlic cup.
It's like nice and crispy on the outside and then very fluffy on the inside. It's real good.
100%.
Yeah.
That is probably my biggest complaint about food places here, honestly. And there's a lot of complaining that could be done, that could be had about our restaurant selections here in our tiny town. But that is probably my biggest one. Of all the pizza places we have, why can't we have a Papa John's?
I know. We used to have one, and then the owner of it, it was a franchise thing where part of it was owned by the company at large. And so the company, I think, had bought all the equipment. Well, the one that was running this place stole all the equipment and left town. Didn't tell anybody that they were fired or anything, that they weren't opening. Staff just showed up one day. Door was locked. They looked in the window. Nothing was there.
What?
Yeah. It used to be next to our Subway down here by the church. And that's how it ended. But anyway, Domino's, I think, is my safety. I prefer Domino's to Pizza Hut.
Too greasy. It is too greasy.
It depends on what you get.
Do you know?
I like the thin crust from Domino's, and that's not as greasy.
If I'm going to get thin crust, which typically that is what I prefer, thin crust, I'm getting it from Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut has the superior thin crust.
I like Domino's because it goes all the way to the edge. They cut it into the fun squares. It's really fun. I like it.
Pizza Hut does the squares.
Not
they
by
don't.
default.
No, they don't.
I think
No,
you
they
can
don't.
request it.
Okay.
But
DJJ Shane, though, brings up, so Little Caesars and Jet's Pizza didn't make the cut. I don't know Jet's
I've
Pizza.
never even heard of Jet's Pizza.
But Little Caesars, we do have a Little Caesars here in our town. And listen, the crazy bread?
Crazy bread.
Yeah.
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 Everything
And-
else.
No, just the pepperoni hot and ready. That's what I had for dinner Thursday night. I don't remember.
It comes and goes. It's hit or miss. Like every pizza I've ever had from Little Caesars is either, oh, this is surprisingly good, or this is hot garbage. There's no in between. There's no oh, it was all right. Never. Like, I don't know why.
The only time Little Caesars has let me down is when we were ordering from them for Celebrate Recovery.
That's true. Well, that was like they're not used to making those big bulk orders.
That was a weekly basis. They should have been at that point. It was like once or twice a month that I was calling and saying, okay, now we're going to be sure that it's going to be ready at this time. And never was.
Never was. I understand. But yeah, there have been many times, all the way back to like when Deidre and I were first dating, that we've gotten food from somewhere else, but we've swung by Little Caesars to get some breadsticks too.
Yeah.
Those things are real good. Mm-hmm. Gosh.
When I was pregnant with Topher, I think that there was a period of time where I went an entire month and every day I ate crazy bread. That was my diet.
You get a whole, essentially it's a loaf of bread worth of breadsticks for like $3 with some dipping sauce. I mean, you can't go wrong. But yeah, Pizza Hut nowadays, and especially like in our town and a lot of towns actually, Pizza Hut's dying out. Pizza Hut's going the way of the birds. Like nobody...
Which it does kind of make me sad.
It is sad. It is sad.
Cannon and I just went there the other day and had the lunch buffet for the first time in forever.
Was it good?
It was.
That's good.
There wasn't a huge selection, but what they had out was actually very good.
Like with Domino's in this town, and even like we have several more local franchises like Dion's, the Sappy Tomato.
Yeah.
Like a Pizza Hut doesn't even enter my mind anymore.
Really?
And that used to be the go-to. That used to be my go-to for sure. And now it's like, no
we have
thanks.
a lot of pizza places in our town.
Like even the stuffed crust, which used to be the big thing with Pizza Hut, it's not great anymore. It's not as good as it used to be. It's noticeably worse.
That's fair.
And so that's sad.
I think that they just take the string cheese and...
Well, yeah. I mean, that is what it is.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like before... They put some effort into it and they allowed it to bake longer so that it actually melted into the crust like it's supposed to. And now, no, they just throw it in the oven for the same amount of time that every other pizza is supposed to bake. And when you get it out, it's still just this log of string cheese. It's not melted.
Right. The one thing that I'll say about our local Pizza Huts that I hate is that when I have ordered things like their cheese breadsticks, okay, there's two components to it that are important. Cheese all over the thing and their blend of like the seasonings and Parmesan that goes on top.
Yeah.
And more often than not, when I've ordered it in the last 5 years, like I'll have the two on the end, each end, having barely any cheese, just in the middle. So I'm getting just dry baked bread.
Yeah.
And absolutely no seasoning on it whatsoever.
Or way too much seasoning. I'd
prefer way too much.
Oh.
I'd go hog wild for way too much. The Nun seasoning, it tastes like nothing. It tastes like you're eating a cheesy shoe. It doesn't taste good at all. And you try and make it at home, you get some Parmesan at home and some garlic, whatever, it doesn't taste right. It doesn't taste right. It doesn't taste good. The seasoning that they have is perfect if they'll just put it on there. And it's a little detail, but it's an important detail. It's like if you go to McDonald's and you're ready for some fries and they forget to put the salt on it. And now you just got dry potato sticks that don't taste like anything because salt enhances flavor. Same thing here. That salty Parmesan and the salt and the seasonings that come along with it enhances the flavor of those breadsticks, cheese sticks. Without it, it's awful.
So I'm realizing that I think I might be a little bit, we both voted Papa John's, however.
Correct.
In reference to the pizza places that we have here in our town, I'm going to lean towards Pizza Hut typically, but I think that it's because I'm like, growing up, our youth group used to go to Pizza Hut we had our midweek service on Thursday nights. So single Thursday night after youth, we would go to Pizza Hut and we would all we would take over that entire Pizza Hut and just.
When we were youth, Pizza Hut was slamming.
Yeah. You talking about the breadsticks or the cheese sticks made me remember you could get them for $5.
Heck yes, you could.
And that was my Thursday night meal. I would just get the breadsticks and a soda.
Yeah. There were so many times when I was a kid, like if my parents were going out to dinner and they're leaving me home, leaving me money, instead of ordering pizza, I would order like a double order of those cheese breadsticks, and that's it.
And that was it.
Thing.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yep.
Not anymore.
And they would always have the salad bar, so I would.
Yeah. It's a sad day these days.
Yep.
All right, last one in the food matchups: In-N-Out versus Whataburger. regional favorites. In-N-Out snuck its way into Texas lately. So a lot of people are getting to have this actual battle. What do you think, Mo? In-N-Out or Whataburger?
I was honestly surprised. Oh, Whataburger came in at the end on your thing, didn't it?
I did have Whataburger, yeah.
But at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was going to say I was kind of surprised to see that Whataburger was not in your lineup.
Yeah, it was actually one of my safeties, my backups.
Right.
It wasn't in my main
It wasn't
lineup.
even in. I love In-N-Out. I do. I don't think you're going to get a better fast food burger than In-N-Out.
I agree.
But
anything else? Whataburger.
it's Whataburger.
Yeah.
Which pains me to say.
Yeah.
Because if I have to pick one or the other, in terms of a burger, it's In-N-Out.
All day, any day.
But not even their fries. Like, I don't even care for their fries.
Garbage. The fries
I don't
are
even
the
love their
worst fries in
shakes.
fast food.
Yeah.
Shake. I had one of their shakes. It was all right.
It's all right, though, but it's not like
it wasn't anything like
mind-blowing. Yeah.
But their fries are so bad.
Yeah.
Like, if you get them animal style, then yeah, you'll probably be fine with it. But if you
It's like
just
eating
get
greasy
straight fries,
paper.
yeah, it tastes like sticks. It doesn't taste like fries.
Like,
They're so
like
bad.
greasy paper.
They are so bad. Every time I've gone to In-N-Out, I buy the fries anyway because it's just a habit. I feel like I have to have fries with a burger.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their burgers, though, hands down, top of the toppest tier.
100%.
Whataburger, though, Whataburger's fries are all right. They're not the best fries either, but they're miles ahead of In-N-Out. But their chicken sandwiches, their breakfast items, their desserts, even they got like a cinnamon roll that's amazing. They got all kinds of things.
I mean, and even their burgers are not bad.
Their burgers have a weird thing. The more meat you buy, the more patties you put on, which you can get up to 4 patties on a hamburger, quarter-pound patties, the better tasting it is.
Yeah.
It's strange.
It is strange.
It's like the meat is the best part of it. So if you get a single wimpy hamburger, it's not going to be as good as if you get like a double or a triple even.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger, Whataburger. But yeah, their whole thing, the whole customization thing, that's their big deal is, make it 8,000 different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they're pretty good. Pretty good. Everything's pretty good.
Right, so we're both...
that honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich though.
And that
Oh my gosh, that thing was a limited time only deal, and it was so popular. They're like, all right, we'll keep it forever.
Yeah.
And thank the Lord they did. It is like, I hate things that make me a mess when I'm eating it, but this is so worth it. I'll go through it every time. I will be covered in that sauce. I don't care. It's so good.
That's fair.
Not happy with Burger King quality lately. Yeah, Burger King.
Matt and I have not been happy with Burger King for
garbage.
years.
It has rare moments. I think there was like 1 year pre-COVID that they were getting their act together, and both of us kind of were in agreement that it was pretty good. It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and they're like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Remember this whole "we're going to be better" thing? Forget it.
Yeah. We're just gonna lean into the suck.
And then like when it comes to their chicken nuggets, how on earth are you going to sell me 10 chicken nuggets for $1.99 and expect me to trust it? You know what I mean? Like there's a point where your sale is too good.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
we
got
to get rid of these things.
This is I don't know. This is the tongues from old shoes. This is
gross.
Threadmaker says Wendy's is old reliable. I would agree with that. Wendy's is a solid pick for
sure.
like, hey, I don't know where to go. Let's go to Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never going to have a bad day at Wendy's. It's not the most mind-blowing food ever, but
I think
definitely there
Yeah.
for you whenever you need it.
Yeah.
Like even McDonald's isn't as reliable as Wendy's, in my opinion. Like I don't think I've ever had a bad Wendy's meal. You know what I mean? Like everything's made pretty standard. It's usually about the same every single time you go.
Yeah.
And it's good. A solid good.
Solid good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the chicken nuggets a lot. They're very different from every other chicken nugget. The
spicy nugget.
The spicy sandwich is so good. I love that spicy
can
chicken.
we end? Because, like, I'm hungry.
You really hungry? Should have made this the last show for the week.
Yeah.
All right. That's all for today. Next time, our back row buds will join us in the Love Thy Nerd Discord to discuss fan and fandom rivalries. This week, we are talking about rivalries. Now, first, it was all about brand loyalty, but today, we're talking about fans and fandoms. And to help us are some of our back row buds from the Love Thy Nerd Discord. Please welcome back this week for the second time, Brian, otherwise known as Oriel Jedi.
We need the thing.
You want me to do that? They're not going, huh?
That's what it sounds like.
Glad to be back.
Hey, Oriel. And the cut is done. No more clapping. And we have Thray also in the chat. It's been a while since Thray's been. Well, not that long, I guess.
Thray makes.
Because you were in that group.
No.
You were in that group.
She hates it when I do.
KY. You were in that group with KY and Meg and everybody all in the same house at one point.
Yeah,
that was fun. Anyway,
We
welcome
missed you
Thray.
guys.
Thray
We'll
deserves
see you
cheer.
next
Yes,
Yeah,
there we go.
No.
Okay.
And then we've got oh, I lost my sound. There we go. We've got dang it.
Hello.
Ah,
Hello?
can't
Get
hear
it
anything.
together, Matt.
We have a third person in the chat as well.
And his name is John C.
Matt, you
love
don't
that
make enough
button.
money. I don't make enough money. There's no way he's in this chat.
No, he's there. You just can't see him. Get it? Because you can't
With Mo if he's here.
see me.
would've voted for
Oh, that's
Mo.
so funny.
You're
No.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mo gets lots of imaginary votes.
Now hold on. Now hold on. There's voters coming on. Oh no.
I won, and that's all that there is to it.
Yeah,
At the
there's
very
so much
least,
proof
it
of
was a
that, too.
tie.
No.
At the very least, it was a tie.
No.
You know what, Mo?
You know
You
what?
and I can go out for
When
the
Jo-
superior fries.
When Joe
Let's do it.
Biden
Let's
won the
do it, Thray.
presidency, there was a lot of people that are like, excuse me, my vote wasn't counted or something, but you know what? He's still president, so don't know
I'm
what to tell
talking
you.
about waffle fries. Just stop.
Look, this has been that was the most secure election ever, and this was the most secure poll ever.
Whatever
I don't
makes
know
you
if
feel
it's
better.
somewhere, but
When
anyway.
can
You
delete the
legit-
poll,
You hold on. Actually, Oriel, I don't know this for sure. Who did you vote for?
I voted for you.
See, you got two people right here in the chat saying I had the superior list.
That's crazy because I won the poll.
Yeah, I don't
just
know. It makes
understand how that
0
happened.
sense, huh?
Except
3 to
let's
1.
move on.
3 to 1. The math
Look,
doesn't lie.
all that matters is what's on the paper, and paper
Yeah.
says I
There
won,
is no paper anymore.
There
is no paper.
There's video.
No,
It's all video
mm-mm.
evidence.
This is radio. What good is paper anyway?
Facts.
Oh man. Okay. So we're talking about fan loyalty and not like who's Mo's fan and who's my fan. So we're just gonna end that conversation right now.
Oh no!
Let's
Put the
talk
poll
about-
up. Put the
No,
poll
we're
up.
not putting a poll up.
I can't vote right now.
So I think probably most well-known nerd culture fandom war
Yeah.
is maybe still Star Wars
Still.
versus Star Trek.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They are similar in names, similar in fandoms. In some places, similar in story, but not all that much.
Yeah.
They're kind of different. Same kind of themes occasionally, but pretty vastly different in most cases. So, I mean, we know where Oriel Jedi stands, right? Like you're just a
Yeah. He's a total Trekkie.
Yeah.
total Trekkie.
Live long and may the force be with you.
Right. Exactly.
But like seriously, what's been your thoughts in this like little kind of? I mean, I was about to say fun rivalry, but in some places, like it's a real,
Yeah.
like a real rivalry. Like some people are seriously uptight
invested
about this.
for sure. Oriel?
So, I mean, obviously I'm Star Wars, but I enjoy some Star Trek, like the new movies that came out with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. I enjoyed those. I actually went and saw them in theaters and everything. And but yeah, Star Wars has just always held my love. And like if people don't like Star Wars, that's okay with me. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't talk to you, or oh, I like Star Trek better. So it's no big deal. It's people have what they love, and I'm glad that they have something that they enjoy. It doesn't have to be what I love. So the whole getting upset about people like, oh, you can't like both, or you have to pick one or the other, it just, I don't understand that part. For those.
What fun is that, Oriel?
If it's in good fun, then yes, it's fun. But when people take it too far and legit have fights
I
or
agree with you.
stop talking to people.
Thray, what are your thoughts on this fandom war?
I think they serve different purposes. I think that one leans more into ethical conversations, and one is hero's journey in different flavors. One is more personal, one is more societal. Also, the two fandoms originated a decade apart from each other. So they land different depending on who you're talking to. Most people, remember Star Trek as a TV experience, whether that be the original or next gen or whatever. Yeah, there were movies that did very well, but they were gone to by the TV show's fans. Star Wars, on the other hand, was a cinematic experience. People went to the movies and could only see it in theaters because LucasArts was never going to put it on television. And so then I grew up hearing from nerds that educated me, oh, see, I got it on VHS. So much for that. I went and saw this movie 14 million times because it was never going to be on TV. Because he had a bad relationship with Hollywood distributors. So yeah, they were in different worlds and they served different purposes. And yeah, Jedi can take a trek in a fight, but if we're talking about a legal debate, I don't know. Spock could probably beat Yoda in a logic contest. That would be an interesting one to listen to. I find the whole debate very interesting. Both groups are extremely passionate about their stuff. However, there is not much crossover as far as if we're trying to make an analogy about something. Very rarely can you make a Star Wars reference in explaining your point in the same way that you would make a Star Trek reference. At least depending on what you're talking about. I don't know. I can't think of many crossover concepts right now. Sorry. Now, as a kid, which one is more fun to play? Definitely Star Wars. Sorry.
Yeah, Mosaic Fan Arcs over here saying the issue with Star Trek is that it never really tried to appeal to a younger audience like Star Wars until just recently. So the fans of Star Trek are growing older. He's 55, so that's why he's a Trek guy. But he's seen all the Star Wars movies the weekend they came out. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember the first thing I ever saw of Star Trek before seeing any of the shows or anything. My parents were going to the movie theater to see Star Trek First Contact. Oh, and that was my first...
one with Babe in it. Oh, wait, no, not Babe. The farmer from Babe.
Yeah. And that was my first first experience, and I loved it. And so at, I don't know, I think it was 4th or 5th grade, whatever, year it was, I was like, I'm hooked. Star Trek all the way. And so I started, like, I had posters up in my wall. I was watching all the things I could find on TV. It was mostly Next Generation at that point. So I loved it as a kid. But I liked Star Wars. But aside from just the idea of a lightsaber, I don't think I was all that invested in it. And most of my life in this debate, if we're talking about it, I would always say I would probably pick Star Trek simply because there's so much more of it. It might not all be the best, but there's a lot of really good stuff. All these series, all these movies. And Star Wars was, like, at the time, 6 movies. You had the first 3, the original 3, and then you had the prequels, and that was about it.
Yeah.
However, they have done a lot of catching up just in the last few years.
Yeah.
With Disney Plus, we got Mandalorian, which is an amazing series.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars series got picked up and finished off. The Bad Batch animated, like all the Star Wars animated stuff, which I haven't given the best of chances yet, but I know I'm in the wrong there. The Boba Fett thing, still so much stuff coming out. The Obi-Wan thing, a lot of it was kind of divided on the Obi-Wan series. I actually really liked it. I really liked it.
And like a Biggin actually just said, the books and comics of Star Wars, like that's where when back in like the 90s when I was growing up as a kid, before the prequel movies came out, I had so many Star Wars books. Like when I would go to the library, that's the section I was going in. Like my parents would go to another part. They knew exactly where they would find me. Half an hour later was where the Star Wars books were.
I will say Star Wars had a massive hold on the books for sure.
Yeah.
Like I remember people were really upset when Disney basically kind of came out and said, no, those books aren't canon anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with that because like there were some stories in there that would have been absolutely, I'd always dreamed of movies of those series, like the original Thrawn series was a 3-book trilogy.
I think
would have been amazing.
Yeah, I haven't read so many of them, but I do remember distinctively reading one about Han Solo and Leia's twin kids.
Yep, they had twin kids and they had another son named Anakin Solo.
Okay, I don't know if I caught that one yet, but I know that I just remember there was a book that I read that they were both in it. But
anything with Mara Jade in it.
Yeah.
Yes, Mara Jade
Just got so much better.
Yes.
But Star Trek also had quite a few pretty decent books in that same section, including some where they were crossing over with the X-Men. Like it was not comic books, like real books.
Well,
those were good. Those were real good.
I think something else that I find interesting was that Star Trek kind of left things open source, where you could have any genre show up in a Star Trek episode. Didn't matter what generation we were looking at, whether it be the original or whatever. So they could tell a lot of different types of stories in just a small span of time, and because it was so open of a world, technically what we would have expected to see is, well, especially if it had come out like today, we would have seen a lot of fan developed adventures and exploration and stuff. But to be honest, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't grow up in a group that did that specific thing. But
we did have the Star Trek Continues series that was all fan produced.
Yeah.
That came out, and it was actually pretty decent. Even Roddenberry's son came out and said, like, his dad would consider this canon. Like, that was a big deal for them. But yeah, I agree with that. And you mentioned earlier how the fandoms kind of grew in two different generations, almost. I think you're right, and the way that you're describing the show, how it could go to every different fandom, I think a better rivalry would have been Star Trek versus Doctor Who. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
they
much more
only came out
sense.
a couple years apart.
Right. They're really close to the same time period, or they are in the same time period, rather close to the same year.
It was just their distribution that would have been different.
Right.
And
yeah.
let's face it, in that era of television, people weren't using VPNs to watch stuff from across the pond. So
right. Yeah. It was so weird. So it's essentially like two different parts of the world having two different versions of the same type of sci-fi show. Yeah.
Right.
It was very
and
interesting.
let's think about it. That sci-fi show was used for the purpose of commentary and an ethical discussion. And by having that ability to, I mean, Doctor Who, clearly we have the ability to travel in time and space and use that justification for arriving in different time periods and looking at different contexts. In Star Trek, we see the same thing, only, we've arrived at a planet in a different stage of development. And then
So
they
that was
explore the
yeah.
exact same concept or ethical question.
Yep.
That really seemed to be their big thing in both contexts. A lot of philosophy going on in 60s television.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's move into our next one here. We got Marvel versus DC.
Ooh. I'm gonna be loyal to DC even if their movies aren't doing so bad.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Comics wise, DC stuff is really good. Animated movies and TV shows, really good.
Yes.
HBO shows, dark, but really pretty good.
Yeah.
But movies, yeah, they've been hit or miss. Heavy on the miss.
I mean, growing up, I never was much of a comic book fan.
Yeah.
And so watching the Marvel movies, the MCU was my first kind of real experience. I mean, I knew Spider-Man and I knew a lot of the big names and all. But like, if I remember going to see Guardians of the Galaxy and like, who in the world are the Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, I had never heard of these people before and loving the movie.
Yeah. That was most people's favorite Marvel movie at that point. And most people had never heard of those heroes. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's been so well done.
Yes.
But I'm probably, they're going to go, why is she being such a Debbie Downer? But I honestly think that Marvel may have plateaued a little bit.
Why is she being such a Debbie Downer?
But
no, you're absolutely right. They hit that. Look, the arc from Iron Man to Endgame.
Yep.
Right.
Unprecedentedly good. Couple like lower tier movies in there, but overall, especially as an overarching story, fantastic. After Endgame, they're like, how do we do this again?
Something else to do.
Yeah. How are we going to pull this off again? And it's been a slow build with a lot more hit or miss stuff.
I mean, that was a 10-year adventure, essentially. If you go from beginning with Iron Man to Endgame, which is kind of crazy to think that the 5-year time jump in Endgame would be happening like right now.
Right, yeah, because it took them a few years into the future at that point, didn't it? Yeah.
Right, it went from 2018 to 2023, so it's kind of crazy to think about that.
Yeah, I'm excited for where they're going, and I could not be more excited for Ant-Man 3: Quantumania. Like, I think this is going to be a big step forward in the right direction to what they're trying to do with this next saga, but
right.
See, maybe I'm jumping on the wrong bandwagon, but I'm more excited to see what Sony's going to do with Spider-Man. I mean,
yeah, I'm interested. That's just so far away
that movie
at this point, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. All of it's really good. Movie-wise, MCU's got it in the bag though. Like, there's no way DC can catch up at this point. Maybe once, I don't know. James
They
Gunn.
gotta
James Gunn's in
rediscover their
charge.
identity.
Maybe. We'll see.
Because
And I think with having one person kind of overarching heading everything with
It'll be better.
James
Yeah.
Gunn,
It'll be
exactly, kind of like how Marvel, it was Kevin Feige the entire way, was kind of the overarching grandmaster looking at everything.
better. Right. Let's move on to hold on real quick. Mosaic, because he knows. Mosaic Fan Arc's a big comic guy. Comic wise, it's currently a toss-up. The independent comic companies are producing better content. I would agree with that. I think DC's comic landscape has gotten muddied in the last decade or so. But for the longest time, they were definitely a top tier of that. But let's move on to, we're going to talk about sports. Now, Mo's been largely quiet in these two nerdy segments.
I mean, I had feelings, but not strong enough ones to weigh in. I'm going to say Star Wars, and I'm going to say DC.
All right.
That's where I land.
we appreciate you.
So I'm look, I know little about sports. So to kick off my thoughts, I'm going to talk about WWF versus WCW. This has got to be kind of the same mindset that y'all have with different sports rivalries. But back then, the Monday Night Wars were a big deal. It was Monday Night Nitro or Monday Nitro versus Monday Night Raw. And they were on at the exact same time. And you had people flipping back and forth and back and forth. And WCW was kicking everybody's butt. And then they started to dwindle. WWF took over and then bought them out. Like, that was a big thing. It would be like Star Trek bought Star Wars, Like, what on earth is happening here? How is this possible? And what are the possibilities coming from this? And for a couple of years, it was like that. And then after that, it just kind of be like, well, now there's no competition, so there's nothing driving us to be better. And, well, let's just kind of suck for a while. And that's what happened with wrestling. Till AEW came around, and now they're trying to get a little bit better. But anyway, you had a loyalty. And I know when I started thinking about WWF versus WCW, what you said last week, Mo, about how when your football team or whatever is going, you're cheering them on and everybody else can go die. And then once your team loses, then you're like, okay, well, we kind of like this other team that's our rivals, and now we're going to root for them just because our team's out. I kind of get that now with WWF versus WCW, because I was team WWF all the way. But when the commercial was on, I was going to go watch WCW for a little bit because I didn't hate it that much. So, I mean, you had that rivalry thing. I'm almost never on the winning side of a rivalry. Like, I always picked a loser in the battle. So I was really happy when WWF bought WCW. But like with sports, I have a list of some of like the biggest sports rivalries ever.
Okay.
Here. So I know the first one was Red Sox versus Yankees.
Oh gosh.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Historically classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know about that one.
Yeah.
The Red Sox were American League's dominant franchise until selling Babe Ruth to the Yankees.
Yep, 1919.
Yeah.
Kicked off an 86-year period of no World
Drought.
Series wins.
Right, yeah. A full drought.
Yeah.
They've made. Didn't Jimmy Fallon make a movie based around this too?
Yes, he did. Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch, that's right. Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Because
I'll
it was
cheer
in
for anyone that beats the
2004.
Yankees. I don't care.
It was in 2004 when they finally won the series
That's
that year, and
right,
he
yeah.
made the movie in 2005. I think is when it came out.
Yeah, that's right. We got Giants versus Dodgers. We got Redskins versus Cowboys.
Ooh.
Which
Go ahead, Oreo.
it's actually I found something out about that rivalry that I didn't even know about the Cowboys and the Redskins, is that it actually started before the Cowboys were a franchise.
Really?
Because a guy who wanted his own, he was a Texas oil tycoon. He wanted his own NFL team in the 50s. He tried buying the Redskins, but the deal fell through. So then he pushed for the creation of the expansion team, which was blocked until the Redskins owner found out that the guy who wanted the Cowboys franchise, owned the rights to the Washington's fight song. So someone else owned the rights to the Redskins fight song, and then a deal was reached that they gave him the rights to the fight song, and that's how the Cowboys came.
Wow.
Man. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
How often do you guys sing NFL fight songs?
Never.
I mean,
yeah, it's
Same.
I sing every time Oriole comes on.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
We have a golf one here. Arnold Palmer versus Jack Nicklaus. That was
Whose
a big
tea is
rivalry.
better?
Arnold Palmer, hands down.
But it was a respectful rivalry. It was respectful.
Oh yeah,
They were
it was a
nice.
gentleman's
They were
rivalry.
nice to each other.
it's kind of like
Because it's golf.
the modern day version of that would be Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson.
Yeah. So North Carolina versus Duke.
Oh,
Oh,
Tar Heels all day, every day.
Why?
Nah, just because.
Nah, just cause.
Just because.
I'm not.
You don't wanna be
into
a
those
Dookie.
guys because I'm a Terps guy, so
Mhm.
it's still from the ACC days of going against Duke and North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
But if North Carolina and Duke were playing each other, I'd always go for North Carolina. Just
Tar
because-
Heels.
Yeah, I wasn't couldn't stand Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're a Duke fan, you're a
basketball
Dookie.
Especially,
Who wants to be a
I would find
Dookie?
Mosaic
obnoxious.
fan art says neither. The only way is if the ground opens up and swallows them both. Coming from a Kentucky fan.
That's fair.
That's what brackets are for. You gotta have enough rounds between you and them so that they're gone by the time you get there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like with the Orioles. I always say I'm always rooting for three teams: the Orioles, whoever's playing the Red Sox, and whoever's playing the Yankees. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Not,
Same with
not
football.
in that college football. I'll go with you all the way. But
with
Anyway.
football, I'm rooting for the Ravens and whoever's playing the Steelers.
Yeah.
What about Michigan versus Ohio State?
Nah.
go blue.
What are some other ones, Oriole, Mo, Dre, that I don't know of?
Well, I think Dre
No,
has-
you just mentioned the rivalry, so
Yeah.
let's not gloss over that.
yeah, Michigan versus Ohio State. I know that's a big rivalry.
That is the game. That is the game.
When Ohio
I mean-
Stadium opened in 1922, Michigan spoiled the party with a victory of 22-0. Wow.
She says.
It got to the point that Domino's Pizza sold the location in Columbus, Ohio, to Bo Schembechler, the head coach of the Michigan football team, so that every purchase that those college kids would make would be putting money in his pocket.
Wow.
Wow.
So when you were talking about Heinz Stadium,
Heinz
I'm like,
Stadium
yeah,
last week.
that sort of thing goes down all
I
of the
can't have
time.
that type of ketchup. People are going to think I like the team that I hate.
Yeah. Exactly.
That stuff goes down all the time. See, the other thing is though that when you have these types of rivalries, is that it's your rival best friend. So like you're allowed to beat on them and beat them and defeat them and go ha, but like,
but nobody
if people-
else.
But no one else.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
yeah. It's like, excuse me, this is a family fight. Why
Yeah.
are you getting involved?
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
away.
So, and
And
go ahead. Go
well,
ahead.
that's why bowl games, I'll support any Big Ten team. It's like, excuse me, this is a family conversation. You guys go away.
Yeah.
I do not care. But anyway.
I really didn't know you were such a big sports fan, Dre. This has been eye-opening. for me.
Surprising. Oriole, would you feel that same way when it comes to like the Browns and the Bengals in reference to the Steelers? Because I've heard so many people say, "Oh, the Ravens aren't really the Steelers' rival." it's the Browns, and I'm like, but no, it's not.
In recent history, no, it's not. It's the Ravens Steelers because, I mean, yes, back before the Ravens,
Right.
It was the Browns and the Steelers. They were a big rivalry,
Mm-hmm.
but ever since the Browns came back and they haven't done anything, it's hard to say that that's going to be a rivalry when one team has dominated so much like that. I mean, with the Ravens and the Steelers, you always know it's going to be like a close game.
Yeah.
Most games are like a field goal is what wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
Mosaic
I mean,
says if it's brown, flush it down.
Please. Please.
Yes, Mosaic fan art. I mean, like, I still remember some big moments in the Ravens Steelers rivalry, like the Thanksgiving 2013 game, Mike Tomlin stepping out onto the field as Jacoby Jones is running a
Yes.
kickoff back, and he would have scored,
Yes.
but he had to dodge out of the way of Mike Tomlin,
Yeah.
and he got tackled.
Uh-huh. And it was very
man.
clear, super obvious.
Yeah.
Tomlin's got his arms crossed and his hand up, and he just takes one giant step forward right onto the field, and then he's like,
Please
oh,
tell me there was a
what?
flag.
What?
Please tell me there was a flag.
There was a flag, but it just gave him some more yards.
Yeah, there
But,
wasn't.
I mean, he got fined a bunch of money. He got
I
fined.
would hope.
He got fined a bunch.
Yeah, but it didn't really hurt him that much.
Yeah.
Is this what it feels like to be you? Like, I don't know
It
what's
does.
going on.
It really, yeah, that's exactly
Y'all
what
are
it
all like, yeah, man, yeah. And I'm like, what?
Uh-huh. The head
I mean-
coach,
You'll get to
listen,
talk
the
about
head
wrestling
coach of the
soon.
Steelers stepped out on the field.
to like interfere with a running player in the
yeah.
other team.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
messed up.
Uh-huh.
I can see that. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you've got
Well, and
every Steelers fan that's like, no, that was an accident. He didn't do that on purpose.
Exactly.
Tomlin's a stand-up guy. He would never. And it's like,
And he was standing up right there.
yeah,
And,
you got
I
to
mean,
stand
can
up to
see
walk.
He has his back to the thing, but he's looking up at the jumbotron and watching the play happen.
So we
and
stepped
that's when he
backwards
stepped-
onto the field?
Yeah, he stepped backwards.
Oh,
like,
man.
yeah.
Yep.
So he knew what he was doing. And
He totally knew what he was doing.
yeah.
See, that's almost as bad as when the ref doesn't move fast enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ref gets in the
There
way.
was some weight
That's,
to
yeah.
it.
I've
And-
seen a few of those
And I think
clips.
they actually teach the kids, oh, just run over them. Oh, that's
Yeah.
going to make relations real good. It's like, excuse me, ref, can you call this in my favor? I'm sorry. I'm still recovering from the concussion I received when you ran me over.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I've been saying it for years, but for the better part of 8 years at this point, that there has to be accountability when it comes to calls that refs make. If it's reviewed the next day and, you know, all the commentary and whatever, everybody's like, yeah, that was the wrong call. The refs need to be fined. There needs to be accountability on their part, because it's too easy at this point for refs to be like, well, sorry, you know, and to have an actual favorite team
But
and make
I've
calls
also
in
sat
favor
through-
of that team.
But
Do you know
I've
what I
also
mean?
sat through
Yeah.
the game where the ref is so insecure that every single play gets reviewed. And you sit there for 45 minutes getting it reviewed
No, that's
by the
fair.
guy in New York
That's
or Las Vegas, depending on where they're coming from.
That's
And
fair.
It's
But how many refs do we have out on the field at a time?
They're at a different place when they're reviewing this stuff?
well because the official association has to review these things.
I assumed
Yeah.
that there was just like a panel of people there watching
No.
on the little screens, like off in the corner of the stadium.
Once upon a time.
Okay, it
Once
did
upon
happen
a
like
time.
that?
They're legit on like a
Wow.
like how we're doing I wouldn't say it's obviously not a Discord call, but it's legit like that where they're watching along with
Just the
on a
video-
little
all the
screen
video
while they're
playbacks.
talking to someone who's watching it on
Wow.
other screens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, think about it. if you have an unnamed guy in a city far, far away and somebody don't like the call, you can just blame the man far, far away.
Don't blame me, blame the man. Blame the man over there. I wanna end with a thought based on something that Topher wrote on Facebook, and it was after the game that the Ravens lost, right? Mm-hmm. The Ravens lost.
Yeah.
Topher wrote, "Well, guess I'm a Jaguars fan now until next season."
Mm-hmm.
And my response was, if your team is out, why do you feel like you have to root for another team? Can't you just be done rooting for this season? Just root for sports. Yay, sports. That was met with only laughter, as if I was some rude.
No.
Explain to me why you have to root for someone when your team is out.
Okay. Do you watch a movie and not root for one side versus the other? The good guy versus the bad guy. Evil versus evil versus villain. Good versus evil.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to watch sports and have a team and root for that team.
So, as not a Ravens passionate fan, I cannot speak to that exact situation or the rivalries tied to it because that always complicates matters. But traditionally, in a tournament setting, if the team that you lose to goes all the way, you like to justify, yeah, but if that one call had gone different, or if we'd just played a little bit better, we would have been in the top.
Mm-hmm.
So we practically got second place, you see. We lost to the team that went all the way, so. You can
like on The
have
Office.
some, bitterness from another season or from their actions, and then just want them to fall every single time. So there's two different philosophies to this, but
That episode of The Office where Dwight had given that rousing speech at the at the sellers convention, sales convention. And Michael's like, I inspired the guy that inspired 1,000 guys. So I inspired 1,000 guys.
this is the justification.
I lost to the team that beat everybody else. So I'm basically second place.
Right.
For the rest of the season, I'm a Bills fan. So
Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see them win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your movie analogy wasn't bad. I get you're like, yeah, you're gonna still watch and you're gonna want to root for a certain side. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Like I'm thinking about wrestling, and I was about to disagree with you and saying, there's some matches that are happening and I don't care about either side, but even in the ones I don't care about either side, I still kind of want one to win over the other.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Because overall it does affect you.
Yeah.
Overall it affects how the overall lineup looks. It's going to affect the end game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get it.
And future seasons, to be totally honest.
All right, so I haven't been following the season at all because I don't ever. I jump into being a football fan at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Every year, and I get really into the game.
Commercials for the win.
No. I get really into the game. I really.
He
do.
actually likes watching
really
the game.
Like the game.
I think that he would actually enjoy watching football if he would just commit to it. But he won't.
I don't have the time to commit to it. Yeah, I probably would enjoy it if I did.
Yeah.
But so I don't know who's on their way. I'm assuming we haven't found out who's going.
No, not yet.
No.
So, of the people on their way to the Super Bowl, who do y'all want to be in the Super Bowl this year? Who's still in the running?
This will be broadcast at a later date.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this will be on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
It's Thursday, so.
Yes.
Go ahead, Oriole.
I would want to see the Bills and the Cowboys.
Really?
Ooh, the Cowboys.
Yeah, because I would actually like to see, because I mean that was it would be kind of like a throwback Super Bowl because in the early 90s, the Bills and the Cowboys played each other in like 3 straight Super Bowls, but the Bills lost.
Cowboys were running things in the 90s.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
And before before the Ravens came to town, I would root for the Cowboys, just mainly because I didn't like the Redskins. So I would
feel
root
like
for the Cowboys because of that.
I feel like if that scenario happened, would you still go for the Bills?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Given that we're right next door to the Cowboys.
Yes, 100%. I am not a Cowboys fan.
But loyalty to your region.
Nope.
I mean, look at me. The Redskins are literally in Maryland. They're not in Washington. They're literally in Maryland.
Yeah.
And I was rooting for a team down in Texas where I had never been.
What about you, Threy?
Well, as a college football fan, what I do is I wait till the Super Bowl and see who has the most alumni on their team, and that's who I cheer for.
Wow. Okay.
But just looking at the remaining brackets right now, Cowboys Bengals could be fun. I've got friends that support
Mo
both
hates
those
Bengals.
groups. So
You made Mo almost throw up in her mouth right there.
I'm sorry. I will cheer for whoever my friends are heavily endorsing. I'm honestly more involved in the fact that I want the commercials to be better this year.
Yeah, last year they were kind of underwhelming. This year I hope they're good.
So yeah, I will watch the game. I will judge it for quality, but I will basically go, oh, this team has these alumni. This team has these alumni. I remember him when he was 20. You know, that sort of thing. And just cheer them on.
Okay, Mo, final thought for you. Who do you want to be in the Super Bowl? Bills and who else?
I'm either going Bills and Cowboys or Bills and Jaguars. Either one.
Well, it can't be the Jaguars.
So Bills and Cowboys then
Bills and
too?
Cowboys,
But
yeah.
you want the Bills to win.
I do. 100%.
Yeah, I would want the Bills to win in that scenario, in the Bills Cowboys.
Wow. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought y'all were going to have a fun rivalry this year, but I guess not.
The Bills.
I guess you're always going to
100%.
be on the same team no matter
49ers and Bengals.
what. Mosaic is saying 49ers and Bengals, yeah.
So,
Well, I know who Silver wants to win because she's a big Giants fan.
Oh, right.
Yeah. She is a huge Giants fan. So
That's so ironic
Yeah,
because she's
she
so
will-
small.
she will not like the fact that I'm going with the Cowboys.
That was low. That was.
So we're so tiny. Why does she cheer for the Giants?
I don't ever.
Nice.
I don't ever want to see the Bengals in a Super Bowl. Ever. Ever.
So what have they done to you, Mo?
Here's the thing.
What the Ravens.
Slight have they
For
done?
so many years, they were the team.
Yeah.
Like, they were number one within our division. Yeah, for so many years. Oriole? Right?
Not really, actually.
Yes.
The Bengals were all.
No, the
No, it
Browns
was-
were last. We were third.
Browns,
And then Steelers and Bengals always fought for that number one spot.
For a few years, yeah, there was a few years where they
Enough
were,
years that it is scarred Mo.
And apparently, like, I don't know.
No, there were a few years where we were. I mean, obviously we were better than the Browns, but because the Browns are just the
Garbage.
Browns. But yeah, there were a few years that the Bengals were actually really good. Then they were fighting the Steelers for those top spots.
Right. And we would start out really good at the beginning of the season every year. Every year.
Yeah.
We would start out really
that's
good.
How early season goes.
Well,
I mean, everybody gets their hopes up, and then they lose a lot. That's just how NFL works.
yes, but we would win. We would actually play really well, and then something would end up happening, and we would.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's a game of endurance, and they play all the young people at the beginning of the season, and then they trade them around.
No!
And then they go, what happened?
No.
I don't know where they went.
No. That's not what
Or
I'm
they get
saying.
injured.
That's not what I'm saying at
Or
all.
they break vertebrae.
No,
and then
Flacco
continue
would
to
shoot
play.
us. That's what would end up happening is we would have the worst. We had the worst quarterback ever. Anyway.
We gave him way too much money after he did well in one postseason.
We really did. The only thing that we
need to
had
pay your
going for us at the
offensive
time,
line.
well, I shouldn't say the only thing. We had Jacoby Jones and we had Ray Lewis and we had, Steve Smith Sr. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but then, like, come
Wide
mid-season.
receivers are never our forte.
Huh?
Wide receivers have never been our forte. We've never had, like, a
Listen,
big
offense has never been our forte. Okay?
So how do you score?
Oh, our
the
kicker,
defense.
Okay, I hear that. I can't
Justin
argue
Tucker's
that.
the only way that we got points on the board at any given reason.
I mean, I remember in the 2000 season when we won the Super Bowl, but there was a 5-game stretch that the Ravens did not score a touchdown, and they only scored field goals. And Matt Stover was the reason why they won 2 of those 5 games. They went 2-3 in that, and I mean,
See, if you lose in a game because you couldn't kick a field. Oh, okay, I gotta watch my words here. If you only put field goals on the board, then it's not so much that you won, then it's that the other team lost. Because it's a team sport.
Okay, that's
And
fair.
If
and that's where our
your
defense.
special team is the only team that showed up, then you've not done your job.
Listen, I'm not
I mean,
disagreeing.
Our defense was amazing that year, giving up 165 points during the entire 16-game season. So averaging that out, only 10 points a game they were giving up. And so that's how they also won, only with field goals. And Matt, sorry, you're not being saved. I saw your comment.
What?
No one is
Just
coming to save you. No one is coming to save you.
Okay, actually, should we wrap this up?
We
can talk
actually should,
football
because this has
later.
been the longest segment of the week.
Y'all
There are
went on
entire
and on and
channels
on and
to
on and on
football.
about your stuff. On and on and on. Whatever.
Oh man,
I got
thank
you,
y'all. Thank y'all
Thanks.
so much for joining us for the chat. Y'all brought a lot to it. There's no doubt about it. Y'all brought a lot to the
Here's to a
discussions
Bills
today.
and
Try to be more
Cowboys
inclusive
Super
of
Bowl.
you next time.
No, I
Bills
did
and
this
Cowboys.
I did this on purpose. That's why it had
Taco
to be
Tuesday and football talk. With
had to be a
Matt
Discord
with Noah and
discussion.
Oriole.
There you go.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Thank y'all so much.
Love y'all.
Love you guys.
Have
Bye.
a good day.
Have a good one.